Hey guys, everyone, welcome to the social distancing slash quarantine podcast. Depending on who we are, we have the full team here. Just chat. This one's going to be a very laid down um, type podcast. EJ, we start with ladies first. Welcome. Thanks for coming on. Um, all of us are in different parts of the world. EJ is obviously United States to me. G, thanks for coming on. How you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, good. Ola, all the way in Ireland. How you doing?
We're holding it down.
Holding down.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start with ladies first. EJ, what have you been up to? How's it going with you first?
It's been good. I mean, I've been busy. The social distancing thing, we're trying to do it, but we've not been mandated to do it yet by the state, so we're just doing it on our own. Obviously, I'm still going to work. I'm a quote unquote healthcare professional, so we still have to show up and handle some of these COVID cases that we're seeing at our hospital. So my job is just to find the right drugs, which doesn't exist right now, but hopefully we'll get there.
Okay.
Right now, we're just taking care of patients. But yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Anything new you've been up to, hobby wise, EJ?
Hobby wise, watching TV, catching up on, like, my spare time anyway, catching up
Okay.
on some new shows on Netflix. I haven't watched any sports lately because there's no sports to watch. So,
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
had
don't
to
one
do
of
other
those
things.
that. Yeah, I don't one of those that likes to go back in time, like everybody has been doing.
I know people are getting nostalgic. I saw someone watch the Invincible games, some of the Invincible games for Arsenal. I'm like, I'll be okay. I'll do other things.
Okay, okay. So you want to share example of one show you watched, a new show you watched recently?
I watched what is it called? She Made is on Netflix. It's
Okay,
about Madam C.J. Walker. It's pretty good. And
okay,
On My Block season 3. I think those are. I liked On My Block. So if you didn't like it, if you didn't like season 1 and season 2, then maybe you won't like season 3. But maybe you should get into it since you have nothing else to do. So go watch On My
Is it a
Block.
ch-
I
is
saw.
it a
I
chick
saw.
is it a chick flick?
It's not a chick
Uh,
flick.
it's
It's
a,
not a chick flick at
I'm
all.
just messing with you.
a
Go
teenage.
ahead, Ola.
It's a teenage show, but I feel like it tackle. I mean, honestly, it tackles a lot of teenage issues, but it's interesting. So I think people should watch it. It's very very engaging.
Okay, okay. So
I
we go
saw.
to the man that's furthest away. Ola, what have you been
Wait,
up to?
We've been on lockdown since last week. The Taoiseach, the Prime Minister, he was actually over there in America. It was, when they do St. Patrick's Day, the Prime Minister in Ireland comes over to America. So he was already with Trump, and um, I think that was around the time Trump
You
was
broke
like,
up
okay,
there.
he's going to
Broke up
ban,
there.
was going to ban flights from Schengen countries in Europe, except for UK and Ireland.
That's right.
Around that period anyway, the instructions came through that, look, everybody, social distancing, stay at home if you can. So I've been working from home since the end, like middle of last week. Luckily, the job I do at the moment involves a lot of computer work, so
Okay,
I, scientific writing and all that. So, but my company, they're still open because it's a pharmaceutical product development country. So
okay.
they have to stay open because clinical trials are going on and all those. So yeah, so people who have to work in the lab still go to work, but for me, I am at home doing my work from home, in my pajamas, taking a break anytime I want. I just go take a break anytime I want, just hang around. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of catching up on Netflix too. So a lot of,
Okay.
yeah.
So
On
how's
my
that? Start with that. How's that dynamic going with Madam? How's that going?
well, she's also at home mostly now. Like, well, from today, another announcement came that basically all shops except the non-essential shops should open, and
Okay.
schools are closed. Everything is closed. Everything is in lockdown except for just few places. So she's at home too.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah,
Sure. What have you been watching recently?
um, well, that's a good thing. Netflix. the Netflix subscription, the subscription for Netflix is really, I'm making the best use of it now. Like we finished, there's a show called The Stranger on Netflix.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah, and
That's a good one.
we're just about to finish Line of Duty. There's another one called Line of Duty. It's really, really good. It's like it's a UK show, but it's like based on
maybe it's a UK show.
Yeah, but it's 4 seasons, but 6 episodes.
Nostalgic. Okay. No nostalgic Liverpool watching. That's kind of you guys' strength. Going back to nostalgia.
Well, for nostalgia, that's the thing. Me, you guys will notice maybe even in the Facebook, in our group there, I tune out from football often. You'll see me. I'll be on the group. I won't interact much. I'll just read. I don't post a lot. So
Okay.
periodically I do that. I don't let football overwhelm me. Even normally, like even when it's banter, yeah, I'll enjoy some banter, but after a while, I'll not. So I tune out of football a lot. Like when I'm watching football, I'm into football, but there sometimes I'm just like, okay, I don't want it to overwhelm me. So like I've not even watched anything Liverpool. I've not gone on any Liverpool website. I've not any stuff with football. It's for me, it's just like, okay, football is not on. Well, find other things to do. So that's it. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, it's always good to have a complete life, in my opinion, and not just be a junkie sometimes, football junkie. Pucci, how have you been? We talk every other time, but yeah, let our viewers know how you've been doing, what you've been up to lately. What fun thing have you been doing?
I've been been going to work, but because my company also works in healthcare, so we have to be open. And kind of like what we do actually has to do with a lot of frontline people. When I mean frontline, it's basically both the staff and the potential vulnerable people.
Okay.
But given that they locked down the state today, not lockdown, sorry, they set a stay-at-home order for the county and the next county, basically the county I work in and the county I live in. So I think personally, and then I also had some travel recently, so I think I can work from home, and I would rather, explore that because I might actually be exposing more people if I continue moving around. So for me, like actually the best thing to stay at home for a while. So that's what I've decided regarding that. But I've been going into work. The weird thing though is that work has been busy and not busy in the sense that I've been doing other things because I've had time. There are not as many calls coming in. It's weird that it's because I have to do a lot of basically I do like admin stuff. So I have to take a lot of calls. I have to speak to a lot of people. And nobody's calling like because it's like weird. Like somebody said that all of a sudden, there's no ISIS, for example, is even on lockdown or that kind of stuff. So nobody's calling in. But then all of a sudden, there's a backlog of stuff coming out. There's this stuff you didn't do last month. Because there's always stuff you didn't do. So I'm doing a lot of that stuff. But it's kind of relaxed because there's no pressure of what do you call it, time limit. You don't have to do it right now. But at the same time, yeah, there's still some management here and there. Regarding hobbies, yeah, like Ola, I've actually zoned out of football a little bit. I've been reading more because I actually am more passionate, weirdly, about politics and political history than I am about football. Where I am in politics right
Shocker.
now, I was in football like 15 years. Yeah, like he knows because like if we start talking about COVID-19 politics, whatever, I would probably spend the next hour talking about it right now because that's all I've done for the past month. And I have this weird thing of I like to read, so but I don't really read large texts. What I mean, I don't really read large texts. I've lost a passion for reading books, but I love articles. So I can read 100 articles in a day. So that's all I've been doing. I've been reading this news report, that research, this one, that one, and before you know it, I spent 4 or 5 hours doing this, and it's really, really taking my time. I've only watched. I haven't watched any of. I said like weirdly, I should be using my subs now, like my Hulu subscription or Disney Plus, whatever. But I haven't really used it for months, and I'm thinking of canceling. And even now, I'm not using it because I've only watched Rami, which is a great show. You should watch it. And then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy again,
Yes.
as usual. That's a classic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I watched End of the what's it called? Endgame again. So I've been on Disney a little bit more because
Oh,
that
sorry.
one is still new.
Is Disney
So
Plus
that's what I've
launched
done.
over there? It's launched over there now, yeah? Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
Yes.
Wow.
You don't have Disney Plus in Ireland?
I don't think we have it here. I think they're supposed to launch it this week or something. Yeah, I'll check.
It's been out since like last year.
Yeah, it's about 6 months here now. Yeah.
What? Okay, I better check that out.
Yeah, because it's good. It's good. It's
Okay.
the problem, of course, is there's just too many things, and but that's another discussion. There's just too many streaming options. It's nuts. I don't even know which one to watch anymore sometimes, or
It
which
looks
one
like-
to subscribe to.
It looks like all of you have been having fun. That's good. That's good to hear. I'll just quickly say me being that eternal football junkie. I'm still watching football and I never get tired of it. My three recommendations, and I think I put it on the Facebook group we are all in. My three recommendations. I've been watching Take the Ball, Pass the Ball. It's just a movie about the Barcelona Pep side from 2008 to 2012. I mean, if you like tactics, like I know Ola does, Bucci does too, to an extent. I think that's a very good movie to watch, and just like the history of Barcelona during that period. I know even before talks about a little bit of Johan. I like to call him the father of attacking football, in my opinion, modern attacking football. Talks about Johan Cruyff, talks about Pep, and how they play the La Masia Academy, all of that. The other one I saw, More Than a Manager, if you're into emotional, more than the football story, a lot of people have probably seen that. Bobby Robson, More Than the Manager, that's a really good one. The history of Bobby Robson, what he's done, people is inspired. That's a very inspirational one. I really recommend that one. The other one I saw recently, Don't Take Me Home. It's history of Wales. Their journey in Euro 2000 and was that 12 or 16?
Right.
16, yes. When they went to semi-final, that's a very good one too. Just the stories behind it, it's a really good one. That's what I've been up to, football documentary wise.
Well, there's a new show on Netflix, The English Game. Well, I've not watched it, but it's on my to-do list. It just came out last week. The English Game is the history of football, but they dramatized it. So how it was invented in the 18th century. Yeah, the English Game. Yeah, they dramatized it, of course, Hollywood style. So they put some extra jar on top, extra toppings. But yeah, it's about how they drew up the rules for football and stuff like that. Yeah, English Game. So I saw that. I think they said, but I think it's this week. It's out this week actually. So that's good. Then Maradona. There's the film about Maradona I recorded, which I will probably watch in the next couple of days. It was a journalist who went to Italy and Argentina to try and track down Maradona. And they have footage from Maradona's time in Italy.
I heard about it.
I heard about it too.
I've not watched it, but the reviews are really good. Like so, anybody that needs a fix on football, movies and stuff like that, yeah, Maradona and the English Game are my recommendations.
Yeah, it's on. I think it's on HBO.
Yeah, so this HBO. One was on channel. I recorded it.
Dude. Thank you for saying that because I'm going to actually go and find a way to watch that because.
Oh, it's quite good. I saw the preview for it. It's quite. They found so much footage from the time in Italy around that time when they started doing the cocaine and all that.
Yeah, I love. I can't say it enough, but I bet you guys understand because we all grew up in that time when we first started watching soccer. Maradona is like, everybody wanted to be Maradona when I was a kid. So no matter what, like I cannot argue he's the best footballer ever. But he's the one I love. He's my first love, like that kind of thing. Like there's just something about him that just makes me feel like a kid again every time I remember him. It's
because he's flawed. Let jump in. The thing about Maradona, while probably people like Maradona more than Messi in Argentina up to now, It's like Messi is too perfect in a way. Maradona is so flawed. Like the human side of Maradona is so attractive. Like the demons that he possesses in a way. Relatable. Yeah, it's true. That's why they love him up to now. They still worship Maradona. They still carry him. Have you seen him recently when he's coaching? They put him on the throne in each match.
I think that World Cup helped you, right?
Yeah, of course. Because he won the
That
World
World Cup title, yeah. If you
Yeah.
have that, I personally think he won't be as worshipped as he is if he didn't win that World Cup. But moving on, EJ. So we're chatting about this. So tell us, EJ came up with a very interesting question. I'll let you start since you are the pioneer. So tell us two players from your team. I don't think it even has to be your team for football history. But if you want to limit it to your team, that's fine.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Limit it to my team. Otherwise,
okay.
The other
that you like to be isolated with. So talk to us very briefly. I think just quick answer and just tell us why.
I mean, I don't think it has to be players. It can be just two personalities from your team. So mine's definitely Wenger. I think I need the stories. Like 14 days. Is that how long they're isolating people now?
Yeah.
For 14 days. Like I know he'll have way too many stories to tell me. Just like, I mean, it's 21 years and there'll be stories. And he's just so philosophical. So it'll be very, very interesting. So he has to be one of them. And the second person, I know you guys are expecting to hear Aaron Ramsey. It's not him. if I had three people, maybe he may make the cut, but I only have two. So I will go with Henry. And I think, that's another person that I'm just like interested in talking to.
Why?
Oh, the guy.
I'm asking why. Everybody has to tell me their why.
Right. I think he'll be very interested to talk to. He's very intelligent, and it's interesting because yes, he won with us, but he pretty much won everywhere he went. So he's kind of one of those, like he won for France, won for Barcelona, won for Arsenal. He's just a winner, and I think. I mean, he's the most iconic Arsenal player as well. So there's no way I can't dodge him. But a distant, a close third, a close second will be my boy.
Hey.
Like to be serious, it'll be Henry and Wenger.
Wenger. Okay.
I'll learn French by the end of my time. I'm done.
You skipped your first guy. You skipped Cristiano Ronaldo.
Who?
You just your Cristiano Ronaldo. Some of us forgot about your love for him.
I've never liked him.
Huh? EJ doesn't so isolated with Cristiano. Let's not go there, please.
Cristiano.
There's that old running joke that, which is not true, but there's an old running joke that EJ is Peter Brexit, that EJ is a Man United fan that likes Cristiano Ronaldo, but ported to.
David Beckham.
It's not a joke. It's David Beckham.
It's completely David
Beckham or something like that.
And it's not a joke, actually.
It's not a joke. It's a fact.
True.
It happened. EJ used to be a Manchester United fan. You know, she has had many. I think you have missed her many coming out parties. EJ has had multiple coming out parties on different episodes.
Every time. I'm 100% Arsenal. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, Bucci. So since you talked, tell us who are the two players.
Of course, obviously, since EJ has made it very partisan, I was going to be a little bit more, but I'll be partisan. There's no way you can definitely go with Sir Alex Ferguson.
Okay. Why?
There's just something about him. The older I get, the more I realize, like, sometimes when we talk about football, we talk about stories. The same thing with Arsene Wenger for Arsenal fans, I would say, and of course, people like Del Bosque, but his career was so special. There's no story. There's nothing that happened in football there's nothing happening even today. Like, for example, Klopp's unprecedented season. He's had this kind of experience. He's had the kind of experience of being one of the best teams in Europe for 2 years in a row. He's had the kind of time of the Mourinho kind of time when he was negative. He's had a time when he faced people that played all kinds of soccer. Like, he's faced everything. He's rebuilt teams. And so to me, and this is because of the length of his career, I'd say. He's the complete manager in a way. I'm not saying he's the greatest ever. I would say he's the greatest ever, but whatever. You can argue. I don't want to argue that. But what I'm just saying is he's the most complete football manager to me because of the length of time. So I think I'll pick up more gems from him than anybody else in football.
Okay.
To be honest, the other guy I would pick would be a very left field guy, but I think because there was just something special about him. He's changed to football. To me, he was one of the people that if he had won, just like you said, oh Maradona won the World Cup. If he had won the World Cup, just that World Cup, he would be probably the greatest footballer or two or three. And his name is Johan Cruyff. And also in terms of having direct impact in soccer, the amount of time Johan Cruyff played football at the peak and the amount of time he was a coach, just a little time, the amount of things he did, I would say he had more impact than any other football manager for a short. What he did, Johan Cruyff's turn was just once. But it's actually the basis of football dribbling today. Most people still use it as that fake. He basically perfected it. The football, possession football of today, he brought it in. He married the total football that started in Holland and modernized it. So he basically has an oversized imprint on modern football for the amount, because he technically only won one Champions League. He didn't win too many league titles.
So Buchi, I'm going to interrupt you there a little bit and just ask you, why do you want to be associated with Johan Cruyff?
Because that's what I'm telling you. They have outsized performance. He's a genius. That's just what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
And then he had style. Okay. He also was not just a footballer. He had style.
He did.
He had style.
Okay.
Alex doesn't have style. There's nothing fashionable per se. But that guy is he's a fashion icon too.
Okay.
So that kind of,
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Tell me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be more practical because the question says, who do you want to be isolated with? Okay. And like I've said earlier in this podcast, I like to zone out from football once in a while. Okay. I'm going to want somebody who is going to be isolated with me, but I can talk with about anything, not just football.
Okay.
So in Liverpool, I'm going to choose one past player and one current player. The past player will be John Barnes. John Barnes was the first black player to really excel at Liverpool. But if you listen to him speak, John Barnes is a very intelligent individual. He is well spoken, well learned. He has opinions about everything. So you can talk politics with him. You can talk business with him. The guy is versatile. Almost all his interviews when I listen to his interviews, I'm like, wow, this guy could have made a career apart from football in anything else he wanted. If he put his mind to it, maybe could have been a doctor self, So I want to be isolated with John Barnes. Not just because, of course, I like to hear about the football stories when Liverpool were all conquering, when we were winning things, and it was a part of that, major part of that. But because I'll be able to hold conversations with him about other stuff. He's well learned, he's well versed. So John Barnes for me. And the second person, when you're isolated, I think you guys will be very soon, very soon. You understand? Guys, you don't know what isolation means. Isolation means you're locked down. You barely get to converse with anybody else, unless, maybe if you have kids or whatever. But if it's just maybe only your partner or your wife or your girlfriend, things can get boring a bit. So a bit of humor. I'm going to take James Milner.
I'm glad you understood the question.
That's the question. It's not great.
That was the way I was expecting.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I figured out what the question meant because isolation means that who do you want to be in lockdown with for 4 or 5 weeks? That your head will not bust. Your head
But the people I chose them because
no, you don't have to defend. You don't have to defend your opinion. It's fine. It's your
choice.
It's fine.
Mine still says. I don't need a clown to be isolated with. But I get your point. I get your point.
I'm going to give my reason for James Milner. James Milner has played football in many clubs. He's also very intelligent.
Yeah.
Like and he has a fantastic sense of humor. So when things are getting boring during your isolation, you can count on James Miner to bring some humor into the situation. He's a very practical guy too. And God forbid, though, if this isolation turns to the fact where we become like Walking Dead, where people start going outside to fight for food or fight for stuff. James Miner, at his age, he's still the fittest player in Liverpool. Every season, when they come back for pre-season training at age 35, he still beats everybody in the pre-season test. So the guy is fit. So I need somebody like that isolated. For food. James Miner.
That's a good angle. That's a very good angle.
Like
that you took it to. For me, all that kind of thought what I was thinking about the question, but I just wanted everybody to. I didn't want to be biased and influence anybody. So that's why I just let when EJ said, because it was EJ's question actually, it's not my question. EJ said it, but then the angle I thought about, I like this, and I just kept quiet. So for me, number one is obviously my guy. Me and Bucci argue about him. We still arguing about him like 2 days ago about him. PP. Every time. A combination of Pogba and Uncle Pat, Patrice Evra. Any of the two, if I can form them into one person and be assisted with them for 14 days, absolutely. All day, every day. Because for me, the way I look at isolation, like you said, is, I want somebody where we can have fun. We can talk about life. We can talk about the experiences with a black player in this modern world. Talk about Uncle Pat, who, because he was there when England wasn't it wasn't dark, but England wasn't as exposed as it is now. All the uniqueness of being black players in England, being a foreign player, those kind of things that played in England, and just the history of him playing with under Sir Alex Ferguson and Pogba, the kind of person he's, just his personality, why he's flamboyant, how he maintains being mentally tough despite all the criticism, and just cares for his family, and doesn't really care what people say for the most part. So just having someone fun, absolutely, that's why I would go with Pogba. The other person, it's probably the most practical reason ever, and it's a very funny reason, because that was just an assumption. It's Ander Herrera, because it's very weird, because Ander Herrera looks like someone who can cook. He looks like someone who can cook like multiple. He comes across to me like someone who knows how to cook like Spanish food, English food, like continental dishes. He looks like that kind of guy because he assimilates. And I say this because of my assumption comes because of Andrea as one of the few players that he came and he assimilates culture of where he goes very quickly. He assimilates the culture, becomes part of it, and just like immerses himself. So he looks like somebody who will be able to cook. So when it's time for food, because when you're in isolation for 14 days, I'm assuming that it's just me and these two players. Obviously my partner is just me and these two players. So someone that can cook different type of dish and we can all have fun. Pogba is there for the fun of fun, and Era is there for the food. And just trying different dishes. Yeah.
Just get ready. Get ready to make a lot of like TikTok videos dancing and doing God knows what with Pogba.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would do it because it's this life. Because the thing is, it's an isolation, man. Everybody's trying to get away from reality and just have fun,
Yeah, I'll add one more thing. I see your points. I get it, but I can't imagine changing my answer. I feel like
you should not.
14 days, and I'll never ever meet this person in any other scenario. There's no way. Like it has to be Vanguard. It has to be Henry. Like, and I feel like, I feel like they have sense of humor anyway. I know Vanguard does based on half the interviews he has given in his lifetime. Like he comes off as serious, but then and I think my personality would mesh with that. I think that would be good. I can just imagine it, but no.
I mean, I like to tune out. That's why, just like Ola, I want to tune out from, every day. So I just have fun and meet personalities that I'll probably never meet for the rest of my life again. And they go like people like Sir Alex Ferguson, those kind of people. Obviously, yeah, it would be great being with them. The way I look at it, these guys have books, they have a lot of write-ups, a lot of things that have been said about them. Like their history is there. If you search deep enough, you can find out 50%. Obviously, they have nuggets that you cannot get. Anyway, I get all of that, but for me, I just want to have fun. I just let the 14 days pass and just like have a good time. That's the way I see it. Anyways,
my own personality is, like if there's food,
that's right. Which is
am I ready? Like I can work at home. I don't basically. I won't, like, if people like me, they should not ever make me work at home.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Stay-at-home job is not for people like me. Social distance is not a problem. I see about 4 or 5 people a week. I talk to probably 7 people every week, and I'm serious. There might be plus or minus one, and that's just it. Almost every week, rinse, repeat. So there's Netflix. There's something. I'll find some fun, but what I want is that person that I can talk the kind of stuff I want to talk.
Yeah, that's why I don't like. That's why I don't like my guy Pogba. Go sit down. That's why I don't like you.
Basically, like,
So you don't like Pogba?
What's that?
No, let's not go
Even
there.
I like
Another
Pogba.
podcast.
He's trolling
Another
me.
podcast.
That's
Another
Don't
podcast.
troll me. You guys said Pogba troll me. You know,
Let's move on.
Let's not get there.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
That's another podcast. I'm trolling him in a way. He likes Pogba, but we have some conversation about that. So stay with Gucci. What's the one thing you would change? And this is an idealistic question. You guys don't have to change the answers you had before. So it doesn't have to be a practical thing. It's like, what's that one thing for you that you would change that's important to you if you had the powers to change it?
it would be make football a little bit weird, a little bit more socialistic.
Okay.
I mean, football is already a socialist sport in the sense that a lot of the money comes from a central pool,
Yeah.
but most of that money comes from, like FIFA getting money to smaller nations. But what this thing has shown me, and I'm trying to make this quick, is that there are rich leagues and there are small leagues, but they're all important because the implication of canceling this league, for example, if the EPL tries to cancel the league and the EFL clubs refuse, they cannot. The EFL clubs have to agree because
Right.
But the reason why the EPL can hold them to ransom is because the EPL, even though they're suffering for money, has a better cushioning effect than these guys. So one thing that I don't like is the obscene amounts of money that keeps getting into football, and it keeps running away at the top, and it's running away from the bottom. It's getting farther and further away from the smaller clubs, and it's running further and further away at the top. So if there's a way we could, one, try and put a cap on transfer fees or something, which I know it doesn't make sense, but maybe by finding ways to transfer more money to grassroots football, because that's the only thing I think about, because we're talking about people earning 500,000 a week, 200 million a week. So how can then we be talking about FFP? Because with FFP, you technically are going to have clubs that will never be brought down.
Correct.
Because Manchester United, the Real Madrids, the Liverpools, the Barcelonas, the Bayerns, they can never be brought down. And it's weird for me to have to say this, but this is not even about the Man City. I don't really care about Man City. I'm a Man United fan. But to be fair, if you do not put money into a club like Man City, you would never have it. And Chelsea is a great example of this. Chelsea today exists because Abramovich put money into them. He had to. So if people are willing to put their money in and invest them in the long run, can't they put their money in any other business? Should let this happen. The only thing, of course, is that they will feel like there's doping at the top. So to balance the doping out, put some money at the bottom. That's just what I feel to sustain the game.
That's a great point. And what my own kind of ties into that. So hold that thought. What I have. Who wants to go next? EJ, you want to go?
Mine was less money and more technical, I guess. Okay, I had two suggestions.
Okay.
One, and you guys are going to say it's because we got kicked out of the Europa League the way we got kicked out, but I would say it's not because of that. I've never agreed with like away goals being the tiebreaker. I think that should. Okay. I think there are ways to take care of that. One would be let's go to Champions League because Europa League is boring. Champions League, after the first round, you have your top two come out. I think the second round should have one game where the top team plays the second team. That's how they draw them, right? They draw them against each other that way. Let it be a home game for the top team. That's their advantage for finishing first. And then the other rounds can be two-legged, kind of like the FA Cup if you draw. But other than that, it should just be one leg through. Or get rid of the away goal carrying the weight. That's so weird. And I think the reason for that is outdated, so it can go. My second thing is this. Offside rule. Okay, no, it's not the offside rule. It's the VAR. You know, you guys know that I was very, very vocal about VAR. I wanted it before I even knew what it stood for. But I think obviously there are some glitches in there, or there's just like human error that's still kind of making its way into VAR, and it needs to be curbed. But one thing I know that's not human error, and it's actually part of the rules, is that thing I always complain about, the whole handball and the build up of play, the build up leading to the goal, and there's a handball in there, and it's not handball, it's more like ball to hand, and it's not the one that directly caused the goal, but because the ball
they not bring the play back.
they bring the play back, and it doesn't happen on the defensive side. If it's ball to hand, it's not a penalty. I don't like that. I think you can see if something was ball to hand because they can see it on the defensive side and they don't call it. So I think that can go away, especially when it's. I mean, every time to me, if a hand gets the ball into the goal, that's a handball. I don't care if it was unintentional. That's a word, unintentional handball leading to the goal. I hate that crap.
Yeah.
That needs to go. They can figure that part out. I'm done.
That's a good point. I agree, because especially when, to piggyback what you said, when they have like 7, 8, 9 phases of play and they pull the ball back. They did it against, was it Burnley or somebody? I was like, what is this?
Against Bournemouth. They scored a goal and cancel their goal and take it all the way back and give
they take
a
it
penalty.
back because,
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that was yours.
It ties a bit in with Butchie's one.
Okay.
It ties in a bit, transfer fees, transfer window, all that part of football for me. I think it enables a lot of some of the corruption, some of the financial irregularities that we see in football. Transfer fees have gone obscene, and I think one of the reasons is football agents. There has to be control on those guys. There has to be a control. I don't know, maybe it's legal, or if there's something that can be changed about football to limit the influence of football agents, because I don't think there's any regulation on them. Those guys, they are the ones that instigate the inflation of transfer fees. And when clubs have to spend obscene amount of money just to buy one player, of course, eventually their finances are not going to be in order. So that's why it ties in what Bucci is saying about money, the money in football not flowing around like proportionally, because, for example, look at Mino Raiola. Look at what the damage that guy does to many clubs. Okay, we know that. Okay, yeah, some players are good. You have to pay high fees for them. But this guy, he goes into clubs. I'm just using him as an example. There are many of them that do that. They did it to Liverpool. There was an agent that did that for Raheem Sterling. They instigate trouble because they know that their agent wants the player probably wants a move. But then they'll disrupt the club where the player is at. And meanwhile, look at what Raheem Sterling did like a few weeks ago. He was putting on Real Madrid shirt. He put it on. Did you see the cover on front of AS? Oh, it was like a few weeks ago. They interviewed him about Real Madrid, and on one shoulder he had this Man City shirt, and on the other shoulder he had the Real Madrid shirt. It's not Photoshop, real photo shoots. His agent's already drumming up a move to Real Madrid, and that if that move goes through, it's going to be like maybe 80, 100 million or whatever. I'm even talking nonsense. I'm sure it's going to be like 150.
It's going to be high. It's going to be high.
Yeah, it's going to be 150. And that's the kind of influence they have on transfer fees. And then that forces clubs to live beyond their means, because clubs will be like, okay, I need that player. I have to buy that player. They'll go and start bringing money that they don't have. And then you now start saying financial fair play. So for me, if one thing can change about football, it's transfer fees and the influence of transfer football agents on those transfer fees.
You see?
Okay. Hold on. I know you want
to say you're a Liverpool fan. But sometimes you're the Liverpool. Okay, no, there's another Liverpool fan like you, because I hate all of you. This is the simple truth. And the feeling is mutual, so no problem. But that's one of the few that we've been able to get along well. Of course, I'm just joking, but he knows what I mean. But that thought, right? This guy, we're going to put it. You set a trap for him. We'll catch him for 30 seconds at the end of this podcast. This thing you just said, he knows you set a trap for him. But please go ahead.
Trap. So my own thoughts ties into everything two of you have said in a way. Mine is kind of slightly more idealistic. Is what they do in Germany, right? The 50+1 rule, right? I know there are flaws in the 50+1 rule, but what I want, if there's one thing I could change, is fan in how clubs are run. I know it's super idealistic. I know it has some flaws. We've seen some of the flaws in Hoffenheim with what's his name, Hop, and some other places, where they know how to bypass 50+1. But just way which clubs have where fans have more say, fans have more ownership in how clubs are run. That will change. That will literally change the dynamics of how clubs are run. Instead of having like this mega corporation or one person running the whole club, fans having more say, fans having more connection to their clubs. Clubs have been able to achieve that in modern times. Are the clubs that have been the World clubs, Dortmund, even to an extent, most of the German clubs are the ones that have been able to achieve that and keep that to an extent. To an extent, right? Like I said, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect rule, but just a way, a model where fans can have more say in the running of their clubs. I think that will be a game changer in the way clubs are run. Because most clubs, the way clubs are run now, the fans don't really care that much. They patronize the fans when they want to do, but the fans don't matter to them. Not care, sorry. The fans don't matter to them as much. They don't really. Most of the modern clubs, it's a big corporation. They try to sell you a product and they make you think that the product is greater than it is, and you are kind of hooked to the product because they know that your need as a customer comes from your sentimental attachment to the club. So that sentimental attachment that you have to the club is something that you are not going to change. I mean, we always say you can't leave your club. Like, they know this, corporations know this, and so it's the perfect vehicle for them to take advantage of fans generally. So that's one thing I would change, in my opinion. So hey guys, thanks for coming on. This was fun. EJ, this was fun. Keep fighting the battle on the forefront as you are. Bucci, thanks for coming on. You two, you're kind of fighting the battle indirectly, so keep up what you're doing. Allah, you are fighting the battle like me behind the computer. There's no battle we're fighting. We're just doing our jobs. But all right.
Yes,
hey guys, stay safe out there. That's our message. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Practice social distancing, quarantine, and self-isolation, depending on where you are.